is Abyss going to clean him up?
Olaf goes down. Everyone's just going to line up here for Lazzy. He's going to find himself the Quadra. Give it to him. Pentakill.
Priestley with the quad beat.
Gets the ace. Available just spin to win all over.
That game was insane.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Saints Nation, we're here with some Overwatch, the first match of the season. It's myself, Seymour, alongside Mr. Dan Banner, Mr. Danners himself, to bring you all this action between St. Clair College and Becker College. It's going to be a good one, isn't that right, Danners?
Absolutely. Looking forward to seeing this new team in action. Of course, this is the first time we're going to see the roster outside of any sort of scrims. And contrary to what we saw a lot during last semester, there is a lot of new faces here, but of course a couple of returning faces as well. And I'm looking forward to see how everybody handles themselves. And of course we're up against Becker College here first for this NECC placement tournament. We've got 2 matches today, which is going to be rather exciting. So didn't know we were going to have this match or this broadcast today, but I'm not complaining. You looking forward to this?
I mean, it's a surprise, but a good one at that. So you're talking about a couple new faces and a couple of old faces. You know, I had to take a little step away from the Saints broadcast for the last semester because I was, in fact, on the Overwatch team. But taking my place on it is, and a couple others, is going to be Kale, Commanda, and Imp, who are Imp coming back from a previous semester, but Commanda, Kale, they're both brand new to the Saints roster, so I'm excited to see what they can do. But if we go down the list of them, we do have Prince Wada returning as your main tank. Apostle going to be moving from support to the off-tank role. And then we have Kale as well as Bailable on the DPS roles, and Commanda and Imp playing on that support line. So it is going to be interesting to see what they can do. I think if I had to nail it on the head, I'm really looking at this team early to just work on communication, set up some strategies, kind of work on that cohesion with these newer players. But excited once again to see what they can bring into this one. Danners, do we have the Becker College roster by chance?
We do, actually. So we have Spark, we have Sacred End, Uncivil Word, Xavius, Securin, and Yuchi on the side of Becker College. And of course, I don't think we've played Becker in any of the previous seasons, so their roster and their playstyle is going to be completely new to us here on the desk as well. It's just a matter of getting the map picks moving forward here. But one thing I also want to bring up here for the NECC placement tournament, there's 3 matches, but it's not a best of 3. No matter what, we're going to play 3 games. So this could end in like 3-0s or like 2-1s or whatnot. And it's all for seeding, basically, going into the actual season itself. Of course, NECC, this is a new league that the Saints are participating in. I think it's new just in general. So as a way to kind of start things off, if you really care about seeding, you play in this tournament. So this all the staff can actually judge where everybody should probably be and make the best bracket possible. So we have ourselves an exciting season.
You always love to have some new tournaments out here going into the NECC. I mean, we played in the UCEA as well as NACE for last semester, and those two were killer. You know, I always loved the NACE, and the UCEA coming into it was a lot of fun as well. Great matches, great teams to go up against, and looking at the NECC, that early standing is going to be important for the St. Clair roster, because if they can lock down like a middle of the pack standing, it might give them some time, you know, to kind of battle through it and gain that synergy with those new players. You know, you might not look with a new roster like this to aim for that top tier, kind of high top of the pack placings, because you really want to develop this team in the early stages as best as you can. This tournament is going to give a lot of insight into what this team has. So I'm also looking at Overwatch in the sense that, you know, as we ended the semester last year, we were on the double shield meta coming back into it. You know, we played a lot of Sigma Hog at times. And I mean, we'd force brawl when we could, but I mean, Reinhardt these days, I mean, it's just CC central. You don't really want to play that main tank. And the Saints, you know, pushing into a roster like this, I know for a fact that Imp might be playing more of that main support duo with Commanda on that flex, and they might be more tailored towards a brawl composition. So I want to see if the Saints are going to, in fact, force that brawl composition, or what they're gonna bring into it, because I know that the team, like the main core of it, Apostle, Bailable, and Prince Wada, last semester we practiced a lot of dive So the leadership coming from those 3 veteran players could be introduced into these newer players into the roster, and they could be kind of thinking up some new strategies with the new faces. So very excited to what they can bring. I mean, the meta these days, it's tailoring more towards survive rather than play as a team, but it's all up to what the players are able to flex to.
Absolutely, and I know personally I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with the support line. So of course, Commando, we probably name probably rings a bell because she would do a lot of Overwatch casting for us actually last semester. But moving to the support role now, and I remember for the longest time she would always basically not one trick, but basically prioritize Ana in the support line. And if this is a survival meta, then we're probably not seeing Ana that often unless you can really keep her safe, considering the lack of safety tools, any sort of mobility really with that hero in itself.
It's actually surprising that you say that because, I mean, a lot of it was towards the end of the semester. We were seeing, or over the off season, a lot of Zenyatta Mercy together. You know, Braid came back for a bit as well, and she's still able to get played in certain comps. She's very handy for shutting down a dive, for CCing a ball, letting your team take care of that at the same time. But usually at the core of it, we've been seeing Zenyatta, Mercy, maybe an Asher McCree. You know, an Echo Tracer duo is disgusting in Overwatch right now, but at the same time, you know, Echo Tracer and Zenyatta, they all just got nerfed in the recent patch. So I don't know how that's going to shake up these compositions, how it's going to shake up the teams to the point where they might be looking to switch up their DPS and that Zenyatta on the support line. But they have to find something to match with the main tanks that we've been seeing, which is usually Sigma, Ball, Zarya. You know, Roadhog comes into it, but we've really been tailoring around to, like I said earlier, those survivable tanks like the Ball and the Hog, the Sigma who can basically do everything, and the Zarya who could just help support those tanks and get them in with the bubbles, the utility that she has. So very interesting to see what the recent patch has to offer for the support line and the DPS. And St. Clair, I'm sure they've already thought of something in there. So I want to see what they bring in.
Yeah, I mean, this team's been playing together. As soon as it got put together, basically we see them online, whether it's casually or in practices and whatnot, basically daily, or some decent chunks of time to say the least. So they must have figured out something by now in regards to what compositions they like that'll actually click. I know sometimes we've even seen from like past Saint squads, like even if it's not necessarily meta, if it's something that they're just super comfortable with, they'll just run it, see if it works. But obviously, Overwatch is pretty meta-defiant, or not defiant, pretty meta-heavy at times. So we'll have to see what happens on there. It looks like they're waiting on me to actually give us the okay. Good to go, peoples. Let's get this underway. Game number 1. It looks like it's going to be Busan to start things off.
Ooh. Busan's going to be interesting because, you know, in the NECC, the APAC tournament that we've been seeing between the Owl teams, you know, in the preseason, you know, we've been seeing Ball Diva be played quite a bit. I've seen Winston Zarya, you know, the double bubble come into play. And a map like Busan, if you go to downtown right away, that double bubble, that Diva Ball, you know, that could be very, very dominant on a map that has this verticality to it from point to main streets, from the high ground that the Widows usually take, as well as the 2 chokes on either side of the map. So I do want to see that priority, that initiation from the tank line on a double bubble or on that Zarya, or on that Ball Diva setup. And if you're running a Ball, you might as well have a Sombra to counter out the enemy Ball if that's what they have. You see Imp blocking in that Lucio, bailable on that Sombra. It does look like they're going for a double bubble setup, but Prince Wada might, I know he's been practicing that Ball, so he might want to be taking that one out instead of the Winston. Curious at what the other 2 are going to lock down for this one, as you do have 5 seconds to hop into it. Commando's going for that Ana kill with the Echo. Very interesting in my idea here. Have to see a lot of aggression with that Lucio on board, Danners.
Definitely looking forward to this. Of course, Echo really only starting to show up nowadays in terms of when I was watching Overwatch. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Kale can do with this character. As we do see Apostle find the first elimination of this series, but quickly trading it back and forth. And of course, this is exactly kind of what I was talking about in regards to picking up the Ana in this meta. The Tracer is just going to absolutely dumpster you if you cannot sleeper, which, to be honest, that is extremely difficult regardless of how good you are. Prince Wada going to be the last one, I think, in contact here with this fight. Commando trying to keep everybody topped off from afar, but it's going to look like in this situation, it's going to be Sacred End and the rest of the Becker College squad able to get the first capture on this point.
You know, it was a really good initiation going for mega control, but the fact that Commanda on that Ana has to get so aggressive. She was caught out by that Tracer, like you said. St. Clair got the first pick, but the rest of them, they weren't able to keep up after Commanda got picked off like that. So the Saints really have to be aware of their backline with that Tracer on the other side. They're back and forth with the ball Zarya on either side, you know, but that McCree, it's going to put up a fight against this new Echo that we have been seeing. The Saints, they're going to be gathering in towards the main entrance. Wada with that disruption on the ball. Zarya, no balls in hand for Apostle. They're going to burn the back wall, so it's going to force the Saints to get off the site, back up to their choke once again, and give up quite a bit of space. This is stalling out their fight so long, and in the midst of it, a pick on Imp is going to be disgusting for the side of Becker College. EMP as well onto 2, countered out by the high noon of Uncivil Word. And that is an excellent hold from Becker College, only using 2, maybe 3 ultimates there to do so.
Yeah, not too bad in the slightest. It's unfortunate there for the Saints that they had to blow so much utility, and yet they did not really get anywhere. We do see Baleable looking for more positions, but now, of course, EMP's gone. It's off the table. So a hack at most will really be all that he can do. That being said, though, we do have a couple ultimates on board. Let's hop on over here. It's going to be Apostle getting himself gobbled up alongside the rest of the Saints. Meta and Imp trying to keep everybody topped off, but it's looking like the Saints are kind of just running their face into a wall over and over again. Becker College doing a fantastic job of keeping them stuck here in that initial choke point.
And I like the Saints setup right here, running the Brig with the Ana. You know, it's going to stop Xavius quite a bit, and you have seen Xavius on that Tracer gets shut down from this setup, but at the same time, Saints are very staggered out on either side. You do see the Echo is going to grab grab that Brig, so Kale's going to have that copy on the character, but instantly Focus going to get taken down. Focus beam on that Wrecking Ball is going to be saved by the immortality of Becker College. They're shutting down the Saints on this attack. You do see the focus fire onto Prince Wada. The last minute staggers are going to try to touch, but that's going to be 0.1 to Becker College on Busan with a very dominant 100-0 roll.
It was definitely a difficult one for them. Saints just time and time again, regardless of what kind of resources they had, it just felt like Becker had an answer every single time, and they could not break the point in the slightest. So a definite rough start here for this new Overwatch squad, but of course, these control point maps, it's not just a one and done, so you still have an opportunity to keep on trying here and get yourself on the board.
And a lot of the time, those fights for the Saints standards, they were shut down before they even started, and it really came off that aggression, that split setups that they were taking. And, you know, Becker College, their initiation on those attacks were solid. They knew what they wanted, they executed phenomenally, and they really took it to the Saints on that choke line. Now, going into this, I wanted to see the Saints be a little bit more decisive in their setups, a little bit more coordinated in what they want to do, because right now they look a little lost.
Yeah, it was definitely a struggle. Could not really get anything started, but different time, or different style of map this time anyway, in regards to the either the pagoda or the gazebo, whatever you want to refer to it as. But it's going to not be a good start, at least, as Spark's going to find Imp to get things started. A little bit of a rough spot here, right in here. So much AoE damage possible. Unfortunately, Wada getting kind of focused down a little bit. It's making things difficult. A little purple there from Commanda to try and get something started, but it's just not going to be the case. The Saints are likely going to get melted over. Wada not going down without a fight, but we do see the capture already on the point for the side of Becker College. The Saints are trying to get reinforced and get themselves into the game, but with the tank and 2 supports, might not be a very convincing breach if they try to do something. With
the amount of AoE healing that Securin is forcing with this Baptiste, it's so hard for Commanding to keep up. You do see the hack onto the Baptiste in the backline. They're going to stop this immortality for a few seconds. Going to try to initiate with the fight. Imp's going to get stunned out. Focus. The Baptiste going to burn his wall, and that's both supports down first before any of the fight has even started for the Saints, and that is not what you want to see when they're taking this fight. A full wipe for the Saints, sent right back to spawn. Becker College holding on with 4 ults still, coming up on 5.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit rough here for St. Clair now, of course. Yes, you've got the nano boost available, you've got the mines, you're probably going to have the EMP by the time this happens, but there's still so much utility on the side of Becker College, like you were saying, for ultimates. That's extremely difficult to deal with. If it will get the pick here onto Xavier, that'd be actually extremely good, but barely. Going to put some damage on, but the Tracer, of course, super quick, going to get out of dodge just fine. We've got the boosted up ball here in this situation. EMP coming out, going to hit multiple members of the side of Becker, and actually St. Clair have themselves a decent fight, considering that this looked a little bit rough in regards to ult economy. But now, as this fight kind of extends further and further, it's looking rougher and rougher for the Saints. They're fighting back, but the Baptiste Securin doing a very good job keeping his front line alive. It's going to force Kale probably to run for the hills, and now Saints are once again facing the possibility of a 0 to 100.
That's the thing, the Saints are just so divided in these fights that they're not finishing the kills there. I mean, you saw a few of them on that Brigitte when she had her rally up. The initiation from Prince Wada with that nano shut down a lot of players in the early fight, but when it came down to it, Becker College they used their ultimates a little bit more efficiently. They're getting the most out of what they have. Now you see the Wrecking Ball going to drop the mines. You have Apostle with the Deviant Bomb. It's going to be thrown on point. Nobody touches Becker College with a 2-0 here. St. Clair College not even getting a single tick of percentage between both maps on Busan. Looking a little bit divided in the mid games, and it honestly, if I have to say so, from what I'm seeing, it doesn't look like they have a plan a lot of the time, Danners.
It does feel kind of solo queue-esque at this moment, which it's not meant to be like insulting per se, but it just feels like there's a lot of focus on individual plays that are just not happening, to say the least. Now, this makes me excited and nervous for two different reasons. This excites me because Becker College are actually coming in off of a loss. They've played a game already. And if they're this good and they lost, this then gets me excited because what is the level of competition here for the NECC? This actually does make me excited a little bit. But hey, solid teams, like strong squads, they're always, even at a worst case scenario, fantastic practice. But of course, that's just game one. Maybe Busan just kind of threw the Saints for the loop. And especially looking at the map pick that we do have for game number 2, it's going to be an old Saints comfort pick here, of course. Kings Row going to be next up. Pretty much every single time we see a Saints game, we're playing on Kings Row. One
thing that I want to see the Saints kind of fix up going from map number 1 to map number 2 is I'd say 70%, maybe 65% of those fights, the supports for St. Clair were the first ones to die. You know, Imp being the first one to go down a lot on that break, and it was showing that Becker College, they noticed that, and they see the over-aggression from this Brigitte. They lock it down, they force fire that shield, and then they just pick off that break away from the rest of the team. So the Saints, they need to do a little bit better at working around the AoE that break has. Make sure that that break doesn't go down early. Communicate to not over-aggress, and what they're doing is basically kind of stemming off what I'm said. They're very split fights in the mid games is causing these players to be picked off one by one by the bulk of Becker College as they're grouping up as 6. Now you say Kings Row coming in. It's going to be a comfort pick for Saints as a map. Prince Wada, you know, fantastic Reinhardt. You know, I say it. I play with him almost every single week on the Overwatch. On Overwatch, and I see what he has to do. So if they want to pull out this brawl comp on the Reinhardt with Apostle on that Zarya, who he's been playing all this time, you know, Imp can go on that Lucio. You can see a Moira come out even from Commanda if said so, but does look like Becker College is going to be starting on the attack here. Saints on the defense. I see a Hanzo, I see an Ana, I see a Reinhardt on the other side, an Orisa. Sorry, that has to change. That has to change. There's no way that they're pulling in Orisa on the side of Becker College here. Very standard for St. Clair. Going for that Sombra, maybe expecting a ball for them to focus onto. But another thing that I can point out from that Busan, Danners, is a lot of the time when Bailable would get those hacks, there would be no follow-up. So if they're going to run it on a brawl comp, there has to be that follow-up. That's where Imp comes in with that Lucio, speed onto him, shut him down. They're going for the Ryan mirror. Let's see it.
We're seeing how they can hold this, of course, defensive side. You want to try and capture that point, and then you get to push the card after the fact. For those who do not watch too much Overwatch, but It's going to be interesting to see how they can breach through this corridor. Right now, the Saints are actually kind of giving it to them, so not too bad to start things off here for Becker. Continuing to try and push forward. Lots of shots going in onto Spark, but actually Xavier, Prince Wada going to find himself the elimination in that situation. That shield just about to go down as well. Sacred End's getting extremely low. And the rest of the Saints are actually kind of pushing them forward right now. The hold is good. They're hanging on, and they're going to be able to put them back to spawn. As long as nobody overextends, all will be good. And Available getting out of dodge just in time. Imp and Commander going to do their damnedest to keep everybody all topped off for this next attack, because they're definitely not waiting too long between strikes.
Full rush unavailable through the hotel. They're going to pull Coalescence first. Getting that support is going to be so crucial for Becker College. 3 fall for the Saints. Beautiful play from Becker College to get that rotation and catch off that DPS, as well as use 1 ultimate, Danners, just to take that fight. That Coalescence was beautiful from Becker College. St. Clair wasn't even ready.
And I mean, the Coalescence, that's an ultimate that it's pretty expendable compared to other ultimates in the game too, right? So it's not like that's a critical ult that they need later on. It doesn't matter. Cyberdoodle is going to be able to basically just heal them up and get as much damage as possible, have that thing probably back up within a minute's time, and he'll be able to do it again, and probably alongside some other ultimates here. We have the possibility of the Grav Dragon with between Sacred Ant and Uncivil Word. I think we very well might see that right here. Sure enough, they're going to try and use the Lucio ult on it to try and put them through it, and it's still not going to be the case. Dropping the beat doesn't matter. The Saints got dropped instead.
Well, you drop the beat for Imp, and it's honestly, that's textbook. You know, you have to use it in that sense. And in doing so, Becker College, they're just going to speed their Reinhardt into it, do the extra damage, beat the beat, basically, with that hammer. And honestly, the follow-up from Becker College was perfect. It just wasn't enough for the Saints to keep them alive. Now push all the way up to the second corner of the Streets phase for Kings Row. You see Spark leading the way. High ground controlled by the Zarya as well. I like the setup from Becker College. Blocking the shadows, Prince Wada. You see the hack coming in on the front line. That Spark going down with an excellent initiation from St. Clair College. Now the Nano, they're looking to finish this off as fast as they can. Prince Wada, he just cannot get there in time. Both tanks go down, so Becker College is forced into the back of their spawn. You're coming up on an EMP shatter too from the Saints, so they might look to use that early in this round.
All right, a little breath of life here for the St. Clair squad. That's exactly what they needed. Of course, they got the 1 defense earlier in the game, but now being able to stop it at the Streets phase, because how many times do we see you get the first point and then they just straight up run it all the way down to the second checkpoint? And sometimes it almost feels like it's guaranteed, but not this time. Saints stopping it in its tracks. I like the nano boost onto Prince Wada. The fact that he stopped that shatter was absolutely critical in keeping their entire squad alive. Otherwise, it would have been dropped pretty well instantly. And now, the Saints get the opportunity to possibly do the same combination back to him. And sure enough, that's a huge grab coming out here from Apostle alongside the Dragon Strike from Kale. Perfectly done there, melting away the Becker College squad. And Saints looking much better, at least this time by now. And Wada still has Shatter.
I don't like the EMP with that Grav Dragon. I mean, those two, the Grav Dragon basically solidified that fight. And you know, the EMP, I know, was the cherry on top, but now you have to get that shatter without the help. Prince Wada, they have to look for that big brain play here. Now, you do see the beat on the opposite side with the High Noon. They're going to probably force them on forward. The speed in hand. They're definitely backing up the Saints, and Prince Wada, so much pressure. He's going to go down to that High Noon. They follow up with it. The rest of St. Clair fall. Becker College, they know what they had to do there, and they did it perfectly.
Yeah, very rough spot. Again, like you were saying, if you had an EMP in that fight, you can definitely have turned that one around, get rid of the shields, and like plow on forward. The unfortunate little bit of overkill actually coming out from Available. A little bit, seeing a little bit red, getting a little trigger happy, unfortunately, with that ultimate. Granted, he could probably charge that rather quickly as well, but still actually. Though he switched over to McCree now, so that's not even going to be a play now.
We got coming up on the Nano as well for Commanda. On the opposite side, Becker College, they have the Grav Dragons. No beat for St. Clair. They're going to go for it as fast as they can. Put St. Clair right back on the respawn. So much time now for Becker College to push this even farther in the third phase of Kings Row. Kale's going to go down last. All the Saints are on respawn. A team kill, you hear it. As the bells chime, 3 minutes left for Becker College. Just push the rest of the way. Prince Wada's going to be back with Imp and Apostle. Locking down that front line. Becker College kiting. I like this play. They know that St. Clair has a little bit to offer, and that's going to be the Reinhardt here. Now Prince Wada gets shattered after the stun from the McCree. A little bit too over-aggressive. Saints lose 2. Their front line obliterated. And Becker College, with this coalescence, are pushing the train even farther. They're going to get this capture. 3 on point to make sure it's solidified. Becker College with a 2 minutes and 30-second cap on Kings Row, absolutely obliterating the Saints for the second map in a row.
Gosh, that was so rough. Commanda dropped the nano boost onto Prince Wada, but they stunned up Prince Wada. They dropped the hammer. They got the shatter onto him as well, and they were able to burst him so quickly so that even though Wada is sitting there, shatter in hand, ready to go, could not use it until the last couple seconds when it doesn't even matter. It's a brutal play there coming out of Becker, really shutting down the defense from St. Clair. And now you're saying 2 minutes and 30 seconds. That's a lot of time to have to try and beat here in regards to that third push or that full cap. Getting a full cap here is oftentimes difficult in itself, but having so much time left on the bank for Becker is quite impressive, to say the least.
I really love the way that Becker took that fight there, Danners. I mean, you knew that Saints were coming off spawn with a little bit of force. And you saw Prince Wada pushing in with Imp as well, with a commander in the backline. Spark doing the right thing, making the right call, backing them up. Prince Wada gets that nano, but he has to push even farther into Becker just to get any value from it. The stun comes out from Xavius. The shatter comes in from Spark. They roll the front line of the Saints, and they just push the cart to the finish line. Becker College looks standout right now on Kings Row, as well as they did on Busan. Saints are going to pull out this Junkrat. Available was on the Widow, but didn't get anything off the start of it, so they're going to go for the Junkrat McCree strat here. You do see Commander swap from that Ana back over to the Moira, so I want to see how that changes things. You might be looking at doing what Becker did to you, getting that Coalescence, taking the initiation early. But they're blocked off by this wall, and they're staggered out even longer.
Yeah, a little bit tough to see at times here, but of course they're just kind of stuck here in this wall. Let's try and get ourselves a better view of this. There we go, that's a little better. As we see Prince Wada moving forward, he's going to put himself almost right in the middle of the Becker College squad. And it's actually going to cost Imp and Wada their lives. And the only thing going down is just some utility out of the Baptiste. That's a win going over to Becker without question.
And Zarya looks like she's full charged here, so, you know, you're looking at Sacred End to get that grab as fast as possible here. You're going to go for those right clicks to get the initial. The May is almost perfect from Xavius because you can block off that Reinhardt. You know that St. Clair are going to be going for it. Spark. Oh no. He's going for it. He's going for that sneaky shatter. Apostle burns a bubble. That had to have been called. Stalled out even longer by the wall. They don't know this is coming. He's right in the back line. That's disgusting from Spark. The fire strike as well. The follow through with the team. Now Apostle, very high charge, but they are just blocking him off. They're going to stagger him as long as they can. Beautiful plays from Becker College. This team is on fire, as I've been saying.
Yeah, the Shatter basically turning the fight on its head before it even begins. And now you also have to deal with the fact that Sacred End almost has basically has the ultimate available, and they very well could pair it up here with Xavius' Blizzard just for ultimate crowd control moving forward into the next fight. And then even if they want to hang on to it, there's still so much options that Becker has. And right now, we're going to have basically Riptire and Coalescence to try and counteract all the utility out of Becker. And I'm not sure how the Saints are going to be able to pull this off. They're going to try and take this to the high ground. Commander going to start things off with that Coalescence going through the shield of Spark. Going to wall things off here, splitting the team of St. Clair actually. And this is where it's going to start getting messy. We have a Riptire coming on in. Kale, can he find his target? Not going to find it. A good little save there out of the Baptiste player, out of Cyberdoodle. And here comes the grab. Is the Dragon available? It's not quite available, but you can still make some damage happen. A nice Transcendence from Sakurin. Going to keep everybody alive too. Really forcing the Saints' hand here. Apostle trying his best to try and make something happen, but it's not going to end up happening the way he is hoping for. And the Saints are going to get wiped. They nearly get themselves onto the point and get themselves something started. Though with a minute 18 left, it's starting to get rough, and Becker College doing a fantastic job on defense.
Well, St. Clair burned 3 ultimates there. Becker College pulled 4. Becker absolutely backed up fully to take back control here. Now Saints almost get that first tick. You're going to pull the grab. The Immortality's going to block it off. Now split by the Dragons. The Shatter from either side. Both blocked. But still, Becker College with the favor here. Prince Wada trying to push on through with Apostle. Doing a good job of keeping that Zarya up. But what about the rest of the team? Xavius trades for one. Prince Wada's shield's going to go extremely low and cleaned up from the spam between that Zarya and Hanzo. Mikhail, 8 health. Attire, but no life to back it. 30 seconds left for the Saints. They're forced back on the respawn, and Commanda, just
unfortunately,
gotta use her fade to get out here. She doesn't make it. She's gonna be staggered even longer. St. Clair, they're not gonna have another fight until maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah, otherwise they have to kind of go in lopsided, which is going to be extremely difficult. We see Prince Wada, Apostle, and the rest of the squad looking to get moving. But again, they have the grab, which even at worst, if they don't get any kills, they can just stall them out here. But it does not matter. Sacred End, Secure, and an Uncivil Word going to take care of 4. This is going to look like a full hold here on one of the Saints' favorites. King's Row going to go into the favor of Becker. Game 2 going 3-0 unless somebody could touch. I think that might have been Bailable who was able to just hop on in. And we're not quite done just yet. Tire going to get caught up by the invulnerability field. So it's just going to get ate up like it's nobody's business. Maybe a last chance here for the Saints to dive on in. But it does not look like it's going to go into their favor. Possible emergency Hammond's coming out here to try and make something happen. Not going to work. Man, the last one alive. Imp's going to drop. And this is going to be a convincing King's Row take here for the side of Becker College, who go up 2-0 in the series. If this was a best of 3, it would be done. But of course, this isn't best of 3. It's 3 maps no matter what.
One thing to really note in Overwatch is that a lot of time when you're playing that tank role, you have to give up a considerable amount of space at times just to take space yourself. Now, you saw Spark doing a great job at leading that kind of call, especially when St. Clair was rotating through their spawn to the high ground on their attack. You saw Spark back up to the statue. You knew that you had Xavius on that Mei to drop that wall as soon as Prince Wada initiated, and then you pull the back wall just to delete that Rhine shield. You pull your MAL to CC everybody around you. St. Clair was forced so far back just from those 2 ultimates that their Junkrat tire, which was used twice and blocked by Immortality both times, and their Coalescence, which in my opinion was pulled way too early in that fight, it was basically nullified by just that kiting that you see from the side of Becker College. They're doing a great job at communicating with each other where they need to be, when they need to be in the fights that are taken. St. Clair, they have a plan in that but it's just the follow through from that plan. They go from X to Y, but they don't know where the next position Z is. It's just they get from one position to the other and they just don't know what to do next. Now, St. Clair going into this 3rd map, which they are going to be playing, you need to find that follow through. You need to kind of find some more value from their ultimates, because there's a lot of time that they're pulling 2 or 3 ultimates in a fight and maybe finding a trade 1-for-1 in each of them, which just isn't paying off in the end of it.
One thing I want to actually mention here as we get ready to go into Rialto for game number 3, the amount of players right now on this Becker roster, it kind of threw me off guard. I was like, wait, Sipperdoodle, I don't remember talking about him before. But it's because they have 3 subs actually on the squad. We have Yuchi, who's going to come in for Sipperdoodle this time, and it almost feels like it's like map dependent, because if it was performance dependent, I'd be like kind of questioning it a little bit. Sipperdoodle in that last game, every single time, anytime Saints had some sort of threatening aura in vulnerability field, right on time.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing fine keeping his team alive. But yeah, Yuchi going to come in, and you're about to say something in regards to the map specifically?
Do we know the map for number 3?
Rialto.
Rialto coming in, so we could possibly. Do you know the role that the substitute coming in here?
Sipperdoodle would have been a support.
Sipperdoodle would have been a support, so they're changing up the support line, which means that they want to go from that Baptiste. You might be seeing somebody flex over to maybe a Brig, or flex over to possibly an Ana, which could then show that Becker College might look for a Rhine 1-on-1 or a double bubble dive with a Winston, which would be interesting in the fact that if Becker College has this utility behind them, has the substitutes, they could be dangerous along the lines, in the further seasons. As they more develop as a team, they're just going to get better at swapping people in and becoming more fluid and more flexible on these different maps. So I want to see what they're going to do for Rialto. I expect St. Clair to go for maybe a double bubble on the attack. On defense, possibly lock down that Rhine and try to take the fights very early. But we're going to see what they have.
Okay, so yeah, on the attack, we're going to have Becker going to try their hand on it this time by, of course, strictly pushing the cart, strictly escort this time by for Rialto. And this is looking kind of divey, if I were to say so, on the side of Becker, and that kind of gets me excited.
It is, you know, usually when you see this double bubble between the Winston Zarya, double bubble B, you have the Winston bubble as well as the Zarya to help that Winston get even farther or possibly even get out and stay alive. Usually you saw an Echo, but having that Hanzo, it's going to be very good because Nape has been very standout. You know, it was Sacred End in the last game, but Nape and Sacred End have been good at comboing those Grav Dragons. You see St. Clair forcing the Rein Zarya as well with Kale on that Echo, bailable on the Hanzo this time, providing the spam. Imp focused, pushed up with the tanks here. Commander has to stick next to Imp because you don't want to be caught off from this dive that you do see Spark trying to set up here with the double bubble. He's going to get that drop control right into the team, force out a lot of utility. The stun's going to force him back into the ends of it. A 1-for-1 trade as Commander goes down. I have to say that Becker College, they're okay with that. You're going to push into this, having that main support down for the Saints. You're going to take them at all angles and suffocate them down to their spawn. Now you do see they're back on the respawn. St. Clair got cleaned up there, and Becker College almost textbook for that dive.
Beelable trying his damnedest there, but unfortunately could not happen. And this was kind of the worry that I was talking about when I was saying how the Ana might be a little bit rough in a survival-based meta. And I don't know what kind of For Glory opportunity there that was for Wada, but tried to interfere with the capture of that point, but just left himself out to dry. And that's going to be a very quick point number 1 for Saints. But yeah, Ana just feels like, especially with Winston there, just makes her life so difficult. You can't go anywhere. You have to hope that Imp has the stun ready. Even then, it's only a couple seconds. Can you get yourself in position manually in that time? Oftentimes, not so much, especially when you have Sacred End on the Tracer right there ready to dive in with him.
Well, the whole thing that you do see Becker College wanting to do is you want to see that Winston take the initial dive, drop and get the Zarya bubble to give the Zarya a charge, and then drop the Winston bubble to get the follow through from it to go down. Grabs expended from Becker College, so St. Clair getting the better of Becker right in this duel after the grab goes down. Now Spark being called for the focus fire. Oh, St. Clair swaps the Diva on Apostle as well, so maybe hoping to burn this Winston even more, but even after the 2 picks after that grab, St. Clair weren't able to follow through they were doing. That Primal Rage really forced them on back, and now it looks like a 3-on-3 for the cart. 2 tanks and a Tracer. Against the rest of the Saints who are here, they're going to burn the rally as well. Becker College, they're okay. They're going to get out. Baptiste Wall is going to keep Reinhardt away from the rest of the team, and Imp very overextended here. Dove on from the rest of them. Becker College are going to take that pick. Now Imp with a very, very bad overextension is going to put Saints really on the back foot here.
It was really rough. Kind of put himself behind a wall, and even if Commando wasn't getting jumped on, you can't really help your teammate if you're behind the wall as an Ana. It's going to be a rough positioning mistake coming out of Imp, and now that's going to be another team wipe. It's going to be checkpoint number 2 here on Rialto. Right now, Becker College just absolutely cruising through the Saints.
And the one thing that the Saints need to do is you need to see Imp stand next to a Commander, understanding that Winston's probably looking for the Ana in the midst of it, and that Winston can get stunned out from your break pretty easily. The sleep as well could get rid of their main tank in a matter of seconds. Now, the Saints, they have 3, almost 4 ultimates in their bank. Might be looking for an early aggression with the Shatter. Winston goes down. The Transcendence Bird gonna keep him alive. Beautiful purple for Prince Wada to pick up too. Is traded out with that Brigida. But this Reinhardt Prince Wada, he is just looking to duel his way in. No immortality, no beat, nothing to save him from the Grav Dragon combo. Becker College answer back with a beautiful combo for live to keep this part pushing.
Considering they lost 2 members, how did they pull that one back so convincingly? Beautifully done there from Becker. Like, Prince Wada getting the nano boost from Commando, that was a good setup. Unfortunately, even after the eliminations, I like that Grav Dragon. It just completely flipped things on its head. Apostle Diva Bomb. Is it going to be effective? It is not going to find anything but the invulnerability matrix. Kale is actually going to become a Reinhardt here with that Echo Ultimate, trying to make something happen point blank here with the rest of the squad. And we see him trying to get the shot at this backline here, but Securin just making things so difficult. Even if he's the one getting shot at, Kale's just not able to burst him as he would hope, and Becker's just going to be able to cruise on through and get themselves a full cap.
Now you do see just the aggression from Spark and Nape were just so hard to deal with in that last fight. And that Baptiste wall, getting rid of the Echo copy as fast as possible. Beautiful for Becker College once again. I mean, the Saints having trouble keeping up with the initiations from Becker, not really understanding the roles in what they need here. So I do need to see something in the mentals change here for St. Clair College, because they've been getting steamrolled for the past 3 maps now. And they need to answer back with something.
It's definitely a psyche messer, to be completely honest. Like, no matter how good you are, just constantly going down map after map, you're trying play after play. And Becker, like, let's just be honest, Becker's a sick team right now. They look amazing. They're playing on top of their game. They're countering essentially what feels like anything that the Saints are throwing at them. And at what point can you, like, you have to kind of keep yourself in the game, even though all seems lost, so to speak, because there's so many players with such a downward spiral in regards to momentum that they'll just kind of stop. And let's hope there for the St. Clair squad that's not the case.
I mean, for the viewers out there, you have to remember that this is the first match they've had, that Saints have here on stream in their tournament. And you know, looking at the Saints, they're not going to be perfect right off the bat, bringing in three new players to the roster. They have a lot to work on here, obviously, from what we've seen. A pharmacy as well.
Classic.
This is going to be interesting. Hog Zarya, you know, going back to a classic that we did see in the later metas. Baptiste is going to be blocked off, going to be pumping so much damage onto this pharmacy, but Commanda keeping available up in the sense. They're getting free card time up. It does look like Becker wants to take the initiation at the corner choke. Still pumping out this damage is the Pharah, but Sacred End, they're going to find Imp on that Baptiste in the backline for this Tracer. And that's going to shut down Saints without them even starting an attack.
You can see Prince Water right there just scrambling to try and find this Tracer. Kale's actually going to find him, so that's actually a solid pick coming out from Kale. He is going to end up trading his life here for it, but this could be the opening to at least let some of that support line actually get a bit of a breath of relief here, as Beowulf just keeps on pumping rockets into the squad. Prince Wada making his presence known, going to be shielded away. Nicely done there from Nape, but with a little bit of backup there from the rest of the squad, Wada trying his best to get out of the dodge. He's not going to be able to do so.
You know, Hog being more of a carry pick here for Prince Wada, hoping to do it all for the Saints, but Sacred End and co for Becker doing a great job at focusing him down when they did. Now, Bailable did get 2 picks in the midst of that, but you still have both tanks up, or at least Nape up, for Becker College. You're going to burn the Hanzo Dragons as well to just back St. Clair up. No follow-through is going to come out. The respawns will be here for Becker, considering it is a Wrecking Ball who was on the respawn. He can get back in no time. Prince Wada going back to the flank to try to find a hook. I do like the position of Yuchi, though. You know, this break, you know, if that hook comes up from Prince Wada, he's going to be stunned out. Saints going for the backline. Sacred Hand on the Ash now from the Tracer. He's going to look for that Dynamite, and look at their positioning. They see that Saints are going to the backline. They're moving to the Saints front line now. And they're completely turning this fight on its end, as Uncivil Word does find Kale as well in the midst of it. St. Clair, they're just out-rotated here, and they really don't have the gap closed with a Zarya, with a Hog, and even with Imp going down on this Baptiste, it's going to be even more just lackluster of an attack from the Saints here. A Barrage can be canceled out from the Immortality, so they're probably going to bait that out for Bailable. But Saints, they just keep on staggering this fight, Tanners.
Yeah, this is actually kind of brutal. I'm kind of forgetting who's on attack and who's on defense at this point here, because like Saints just cannot even get anywhere near this cart. Going to try and blow up the Zarya in this situation. Is going to get himself a double. Could be the opening that they're looking for. Is finally going to get shot out of the sky, but Kale, Commanda, and Amber are the last ones alive. It's a 3-on-4 that I don't think the Saints are going to be able to take. And sure enough, the solid defense coming out once again from Becker College. We're still kind of stuck here in this corner with a little bit of utility available. Grab's almost going to be up as well from Postle, and then we have 3 other ultimates. So not all is lost, but the timer is going lower, and it's getting kind of nerve-wracking.
I do like the rotations from Becker. Now, I keep saying that over and over again, but it's just Saints have nothing to counter it. They're just struggling even to close the slightest of gaps against this team with the Spark on this ball. disrupting the rest of them. You do have Grav to mix up the fight. Wonder where you're going to see it initiated from Apostle. Setting up on Cart. Pile drive on Apostle. You do see Immortality possibly with the rally. Bailable's going to burn Nate before the Immortality is even out. The Grav getting one. But so is Sacred End on this Ashe. The Bob's going to stop the Cart in his track. Bailable trying to get to the back line, but that's a Bob. That thing has aim lock. You cannot get past it. St. Clair held on the first point once again on Rialto. Becker College had St. Clair's number, and they did not hang up.
Definitely, again, a situation where it felt like there was just a counter for absolutely everything. As soon as Available was getting to the point where that ultimate was available, we saw Sacred End here switch over to the Ashe, and it was absolutely super effective, as we see right there between the shots and the ultimate from our Ashe getting the Bob out there. It was just basically unbearable. And for a first match, that one is definitely going to be hella difficult for the Saints to swallow, but at the same time, they better figure out how to do that quickly, considering there's another match in an hour.
Oh, I mean, what is it? It's Brock College. I'm pretty sure that they're Brock University that they're going to be fighting off in the second map, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm going to get the University of Somis is what I'm.
I was off. I got the wrong intel, Danners. I
baited you. I'm sorry.
Actually, it was some of the players that baited me, so it wasn't you. I just got the wrong intel at the start of it. So St. Clair, they're going to be going up against, who was it again?
Somis. University of Somis, which I'm guessing that's I'm guessing that's not necessarily a actual university name, unless I am going to bait myself with that comment. Let's see here. And double check right now. But yeah, a little bit rough there for the Saints to get things underway. Like, it was just getting out-countered. Like, everything they had, they threw everything at the wall and nothing stuck. It was...
One thing that really stuck in my head from Becker College, though, is that they were so good. Like, the Saints could take a little bit from their book, because St. Clair, a lot of the times off spawn, they were getting a little bit too early in their setups without their backline there for the follow through. And you saw, especially on King's Row on that first point, is that Becker College was burning ultimates just to stagger out St. Clair for like maybe 1 or 2 picks. One pick even put them right back in the spawn. And it is Becker College was doing a good job at using their ultimates first and getting the most out of them when they did. And the most might not even be like 1 kill at a time. And, sometimes the Becker College ultimates were just used to slow down St. Clair's ults, to just neutralize what St. Clair had to offer and just back them up a little bit. So I think Becker College, really strong team, really good on their initiations, really understanding on the communication of what they have to deliver. And St. Clair College, like, looking at them right now, is the first game of the season on stream. A lot to work on. They have to go back to the practice board. They have to draw up some new strats here, because what they have right now isn't working.
Yeah, and of course, with Becker being as strong as they are, that's a really tough hurdle for a first timer, considering they're still trying to figure out all the strategies, like you're saying, and I'll get all the communication underway. But I have a feeling that going into the game tonight at 9:30, we'll see hopefully a fresh and rejuvenated St. Clair squad. But of course, we never know. The University of Somis does not seem to be an actual university, so it's code for something. And if it's code, that has me worried a little bit. But you never know. We'll have to see. Of course, we have ourselves about an hour before the next matchup, so we'll be quickly closing out for now. But we'll send out notifications as soon as the match is about to get underway. Colin, it was an absolute pleasure getting the cast with you again. Maybe I'll see you later on if you're available, but I don't want to force that on you if you don't want to. But
I'll be here. I'll be here for the next match. I gotta see the Saints boys close it out. I gotta say, huge thank you to St. Clair Alumni Association, PC Outlets, Zekelman School of Business, obviously St. Clair College in its ends, Tim Hortons and the SRC for helping us put the Saints Gaming together, helping keeping this run. You all should go give them some love. For right now, we are gonna head to a little bit of a break, so stay tuned for some more Saints action. See you later.